change of heart, wanna make a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what it takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, 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 Rise and Thrivers. Welcome to Monday evening, February 9th. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. Before we begin our show, we're going to share a little bit about who we are. We are Rise and Thrive Together, a vibrant community committed to educate and empower and equip you to get the results that you want through real talk. So happy to be here this evening and cannot wait to start this episode. As we just saw that beautiful Raquel Stewart, who is on our screen and somehow or another has now went to a dark screen. But hello, sis. I know I'll hear your voice without seeing your face. How are you today?
Hey,
We lost you.
I'm hello to you.
Good. Just wanted to let you know,
Really?
just in case you're just a black square with us. Yeah, so you're a black square right now. Can you hear us? All right. Well, here we go. I'm not sure what's going on with Raquel. We're going to continue the show. And we're going to say, hey, good evening. We're super excited as we continue this amazing topic that we have been talking about all month. And we bring on our first special guest. But before we do that, I want to share with you who this guest is and who she is for Raquel and I. Susan Shafer is an LMSW and a certified grief educator. She has a long career as a social worker in a variety of nonprofits throughout New York City. Her work as a senior manager ranged from negotiating medical services for all of the New York City shelters during the AIDS crisis in the 80s to overseeing programs and housing for the seriously mental ill to senior housing and senior centers. She retired 9 years ago, 1 month after suddenly losing her son. Her plan to spend her retirement going to every museum in the city disappeared into several years of bereavement. She finally found her new purpose for her life by becoming a certified grief educator. She focuses her work as a renewal mindset mentor, educating, supporting, empowering women as they go through the 3 pillars of the journey, from grief and loss to creating their legacy and into the space of renewal with self-care and meaningful activities that empower and enliven them as they create a new future. Her work is shared through one-on-one coaching, workshops, and more creative outlets like forest bathing. And before I bring her on, I do want you guys to know that Raquel and I have a long-standing relationship with Susan Shafer. We all worked in an amazing organization called FEGS, and that's where I found her, how I found Raquel. And Susan truly has been one of the longest standing foundations and pillars in my life that has me have the extraordinary life that I have today. She truly is transformation. She is keen listening. And I am not just proud to call her friend, but I am proud to call her mentor. So here we go, everybody. I bring on Susan Shafer. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Regina.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Diane
too.
already's given hearts and Lori Miller. Oh, hi, Lori. And Lori Miller, long time, one of my first ever as a social worker, extraordinary young woman who's now a mother and a grown woman. I don't know how she grows up and I stay young.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori, for coming on tonight. Another person, Susan, through your support and everything else to make an impact. So awesome. Raquel was having, I guess, some issues, and we'll hopefully have her back on. But, we're just so happy to have you here tonight as we continue this amazing conversation. We are in episode, everybody. Ready? Get this. Talk about commitment 146.
Yeah.
And tonight we are in defining your impact, legacy, and renewal with you as our special guest, Susan. So happy that you made it. And I know this is exactly the perfect fit in to our conversation. But before we even go there, you're the one, as being a Thrive member for so long, really has been the one that was the catalyst to have this conversation this February. When you shared with me off camera, behind the scenes, because we have a long-standing regular call about would you go through your personal growth and professional development with this three pillars of what are you going to stop, what are you going to start, and what are you going to continue. So let's kind of catch up everybody along that from your perspective, because you're the one who really shared that with me, and I shared that with Raquel, and it's been the main theme for February. So kind of walk us through that and what you've been getting out of that, and what do you want to say?
Okay. Before I go, I want to add Diane to our long-standing relationship. So Diane, I didn't forget you. The three of us have a weekly call for, I don't know how many years it is anymore, 12, 13, something like that. So that's that's part of our foundation for support, for a safe place where we can say anything, where we can be heard, where nobody has any agenda for us. We create ourselves through listening to each other. And so I shared that with you and Diane. And I got the stop, start, and continue from another women's business group that I am part of. And it's simple. You can start with something very simple like, I am going to stop eating at 9:00 at night. I am going to start having healthier foods and stopping at 7:00 at night. And I will continue my commitment to this healthy way of eating for at least a month. I'm not saying forever, because a month is doable. And I'll check in on myself and see how I'm doing that. And maybe I'll ask friends like Regina and Diane to hold me accountable and ask me, how are you doing? What's going on? It's a simple matter like that. Or it could be, I'm going to stop whining about my life, and I'm going to start making a difference in my life and other lives. And I'm going to continue that by following my passion, whatever that is, and creating team around it. Or I'm going to stop world hunger. It could be any level of your life, and they're all equal. They're all good. They all help you define what's important to you and how you can go about it. So they're really simple promises that help you take action, that motivate you to take action, particularly when you're in a community that can support you.
Love it.
So,
Welcome back, Raquel.
hello.
Awesome.
Hi.
Yeah. Great. Yep, we're seeing awesome. Thanks, Ellen. Ellen's saying she loves this. Raquel might be the one who's having the issue tonight, and that's okay. I thought it was me, but that happened. Raquel? Oh my God. It's like personal. It's what you're doing. Real talk, real action. Raquel, are you here? All right. We're going to continue no matter what. We don't edit and record. I will be texting her to let her know what that is. And we're going to have some people like right now, Kathleen McGurk. We all work together. Kathleen, Susan was in the mail room and was in charge of all of our mail at FEGS.
Oh,
So she's saying, hi, ladies. Diana's sharing, I don't feel forgotten. I only feel loved.
there is love.
Helen is saying, love this. And Lori is saying, Regina has always been support no matter what. And I am so grateful for her. She has helped me overcome my certain tragedies I went through in high school. And yeah, thank you, Lori, for that, because that's what Susan's talking about, right? Having people in your life, communities in your life.
Hmm.
So, and no matter how much time goes by, up, we got her finally in. Oh, Raquel, Raquel.
All right, movie.
Look, everybody. I don't realize she realizes what's happening. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through
We
this.
won't take it personally.
We
Okay.
don't. There we go. I'm going to text her while you're doing. So, Susan, we're going to continue on because now we're going to take this whole what I am stopping, what I am starting, because we've had this conversation for the past couple of, yes, Lori, it sounds like a subway, that, we've talked about stopping, starting, and continuing from a level of personal to a level of maybe deeper commitment, and then to as big as like
Mhm.
world hunger. And there's no comparison,
Right.
right? It's what's important to you. But you have something very specific that really is quite extraordinary, and that is about how you've had all of this years of experience. Something happened to you, your own tragedy in your life that had you take a stop moment, really do some deep reflection, get the support and the healing that you need, and continue to, because we're both committed, and so is Raquel,
Hmm.
to lifelong support and growth and development. And you started, as I shared with everybody, becoming and now are a grief educator and a mentor, and created this extraordinary conversation. And then you can go into the whole thing more about renewal, legacy and renewal. So that's why I kind of want to bring people in, like how we can weave together that conversation of all the commitments of what we're up to, where are we like struggling in the stopping area, maybe
Hmm.
we're not anymore and we're moving forward. And how does this weave into the work that you do?
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out there. So
Yeah,
go.
you are. So, um, when my son died, it was unexpected, and my retirement after working for 49 years was planned. Um, so he passed 1 month before my scheduled retirement. I spent the first 2 to 3 years in a state of bereavement. Um, that means that your brain is not functioning the way it used to. Um, the idea of future is black. When I thought about future, which was not often, there was a blackness there. There was not the training that I'd had about creating future. There was not a feeling of joy about it. You understand. Many of you have had all kinds of losses in your life, not just of loved ones, but of careers that you were looking forward to that would bring you up to a certain point in your life. That was a kind of future. To um, health that prevented you from doing the things that you loved and planned to do. That was a future. So, future can be anything that you have desired and dreamed of.
Yeah, before I cut you off, it made me think of anybody who's been married, right? And we had a future of what that looked like
Yes,
when all of a
absolutely.
sudden divorce comes in, right?
Yes.
So
Been
there's
there.
so many, a pet that means so dearly
Hmm.
to many people, myself
Yes.
and Susan, right?
Right.
There's so many. So we really want to get you all connected to that. Susan's talking about loss in a way that can be not just a loved one, but like I would say, really, like you were saying, that vision, that
Hmm.
goal that you had, that all of a sudden doesn't happen, right? And
Right.
here's the perfect loss, and we're not going deep into it, but I
Right.
do want y'all to know about Raquel. So Raquel is not going to make it on tonight. She's good. She's safe. But there's a vent in her home, like we all have vents in our home, is that's filling up with water. That's what was
Oh my
happening.
gosh.
Yep,
Okay.
they're safe and they're taking care of it. She's sending her love, and that's real talk. She's taking real action, and
Okay.
we're going to send her good stuff. So
Okay.
that's what was all that was happening. And Johnny Regan's going with Susan Joy Shafer with a big capital Joy because he had no idea that
Yes, I
I
just started using my middle name.
I love it. So going back to that, so we're really like for everybody joining us, we've got amazing Susan Joy Shafer, and she is our grief expert, mentor, educator, and also my favorite part, really about having people's life, really being you to create your legacy. And what does that look like? And that's renewal when you've gone through some type of loss. So keep on going.
Right. So, and I must say that my weekly calls with Regina and Diane during those years was extremely important to my not drifting off into isolation, which I tend to do when things don't go right. I know I'm not the only one.
Yes.
But I made those calls. I made those calls because they were really important. So, legacy. So I did not start thinking about my legacy. I didn't think about it at all for those 2, 3 years, 4 years. I tried a little of this and a little of that, and nothing worked out for me. And the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, when you have a huge event, it kind of disables, as I said, it disables your thinking, it disables your energy. I started coming back to life, and I started thinking about this question. I'm still alive. My grief has settled into my body, but it's not always present. What can my life be for now?
Take
And
that. Hold on. That's a great question, everybody, right? Anybody is out there dealing with something,
mhm,
whatever that may be, an impact that's happening to them, that maybe you feel a little stuck, stopped, or even, like Susan said, disconnected.
right,
Say that question again.
there's hope. Um, what is my life for? And I didn't force it. I played around with it um, in our calls and other conversations, but I allowed it to present itself. It just came naturally because when you start coming back to life and you start seeing beyond the black curtain of no future to maybe there is one, you start thinking about what is my life for, or at least I did. And I must credit much of my personal training that uh, that that supported me to come to that question. And I found this wonderful individual online. His name is David Kessler. He's a grief specialist. He's been doing this business for about 35 years. And he had a certification program as a grief to become a grief educator. And kicking and screaming, as I always do, I registered for this program. And it gave me some intensive training in grief specifically. Now, I'd been a social worker for 49 years. I'd seen a lot. But grief was not something I had paid much attention to. So I wanted to ground myself in the knowledge that is around. And I started thinking about what can I do? What offerings can I make? How can I organize myself and my knowledge to share it with others? And I, not so long ago, visualized my offerings as supported by 3 pillars: grief and loss, creating your legacy and feeling a sense of renewal through self-care and meaningful activities. And legacy can have many, many layers and looks. A legacy could be jewelry that someone leaves you in their will. That's a simple matter. A legacy could be a legacy letter. Some call it a love letter to your loved ones in their will. A legacy could be an organization that you started and that your loved ones, children, friends, someone that you know takes over the nonprofit, the organization, and keeps the mission going after you're gone. The legacy could be conversations that you've had with others that have made a difference for them in their thinking and their behavior. And most people leave something behind. Some of the legacies are not so good, like family trauma passed on through generations, until somebody says, enough, I'm going to get the help I need so that the family I have will not carry on that legacy because it's hurtful and not helpful and doesn't promote growth. So it could be negative, but we're not going to talk about that. There's enough negativity in the world now.
Well, it's the real talk. I mean, there's the real talk. At the end of the day, people know about the show Who's On, that if you're dealing with that, there's plenty of support. Feel free to reach out to myself, Raquel, Susan, and we can share resources and see how you can break that, cycle. And it does start with yourself, right? Because that's the commitment. So I really have a question for you, because this is one of the things I had a post about, and I want to see, bringing this forward, which is, we've been exploring our current commitments, right? We've started that in the beginning of January, really forgetting about goals, but like looking deeply, like what are we committed to? And we've been talking about how commitments kind of, our commitments kind of get stuck in the thinking of motivation and inspiration. And it really, you don't have to be motivated and inspired. You and I know that because we've had real talks about that. You're many times on our group call, you're like, I don't wanna, I'm not in the mood for it. Right?
I don't wanna.
Is her big thing. Trust me, how many of us can, really relate to that?
Yeah.
And there's that commitment that like kind of pulls you, pulls you. Sometimes it is that tragedy, like losing someone in your life or your favorite job, right? So all of those type of things that happen, but we've now moved past that, and people are sharing about their commitments, what they're really committed to for themselves, maybe for their family, for their, for their lives, for their future. So the commitments that we're having today, how are they shaping our long-term impact, our legacy for tomorrow? How does that happen, and what can you say about that?
So through my I don't wanna, when I verbalize it, I release that hold back energy, and I usually take action, by the way. So I think legacy may be known only after we're gone, or if we ask someone else. We may think we're doing something for the community to give them, for them to carry on, but we don't know the impact unless we see something happening, unless we ask people. How did this organization, how did this coaching session, how did this group that I'm looking to do with women to create their end of life plans, how is this impacting your family, your community? Regina, we've had this conversation where when I started raising the issue of having the conversations with your family, you started talking to your friends about it.
Yes.
That's passing the momentum on. That's spreading the word. That's normalizing a conversation about grief and loss and managing, owning your own life plan, end of life plan. It's not so scary. And you're taking care of your family.
Yep.
That's a legacy. I'm not sure what my legacy is, except starting those conversations. I'd have to ask friends, what they think. Oh, when I was thinking about this, I remembered something. My last job was running and managing a senior center. And when I left, I spoke to a couple of the staff, and one of them called me and said, this thing happened, and we were talking, and we said to each other, what would Susan do?
Yeah.
That's a legacy. Like, oh my God, thank you.
This is really powerful. I know Joanna just came on, and I'm not sure if she's still here. And if Joanna, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you've been a wonderful Rise and Thrive Together member and guest, and a dear friend like Susan has been for me. And we've had our calls now for 3 years regularly. She says, I love this conversation about legacy. A great question. And Joanna herself, went to a celebration of life of someone.
Yeah.
And we just had that call today about the impact she got from the legacy of this woman, and how did she really, what came to her came through exactly what you were saying, through conversations that she had with people, right? The conversations people were having about this particular woman. And then, of course, they brought in passages, that, really connected to them, right? And so, Johnny's saying, yes, Joanna, life-changing questions, right? And Karan, thanks for coming on, Karan. He's saying your work. When you said, I don't know what my legacy is, and I don't know if you meant you yourself or if you were talking about the overall you to the...
And I meant me.
All right, great. So even Susan, being real, right? Here's somebody who is all about this and out to make an impact. And Karan is right in here. Another huge mentor to myself and to Susan, dear friend of ours. And he says, your work is your legacy, Susan, period. And that we don't really sometimes get until the outside person points it to you. Boom. And then boom, you're like, oh yeah, like it's that simple. We think sometimes it's this thing that's outside of us.
That's right.
It's outside of us. Like, I have left my 10 commandments, like that. But it isn't. It's exactly this moment at this time, this conversation right now. And what you chose and what you are choosing to do, that's your work as a legacy, period. So Karan, I don't have right now my hands to go dropping the bomb, dropping the mic, because that was hot, right? So hot. And Joanna's saying people are so focused on being productive in the now and sometimes get stuck in the past. So we're making our mark on the future is quite elusive. So we need Susan to help us create the future we want, right? So she's literally talking about the mindset for her and what she's seen and heard and witnessed and watched from others. So we're being the go, 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 do now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get some type of trigger, like we're stuck over here in the past. And then we're, trying to make the mark on the future. We're everywhere. We're now and past the future all at once. Then it does. Elusive. I love that word. For me, when I hear it, Joanna, my heart starts racing and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. Susan takes that, right? Susan takes that. We take that pause, we take that breath, and we start having a deep, deep conversation. It's a creation. Johnny, who's on here, it's a creation that starts in a conversation.
That's right. So,
love it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I just want to get to renewal before the show ends.
Yes.
So we go through stages through grief and loss, but But you don't have to be someone who has lost something important to you to have the conversation about your legacy and about renewal. Renewal is part of the journey that I've experienced, and that I know many others who have had that loss go through. And it comes in its own time. There's no date that it should start. And people tell you it's been 2 years, get over it. Over it when you get over it. And then you're ready. You know when you're ready. So for me, renewal is when you're ready for that conversation, when you've been called back to life and you want something new. You can never go back. It's gone. It's the past. You know how many people have said to you, I wish we could go back to how it was? It was. That's the operative word. There's a space now that you can create to make something new for yourself. A new lifestyle, a new kind of work, just new appreciation of mindfulness, of being in the now instead of the past. It's open. There's no set way that it has to look. And I'm interested in the so many self-care technologies there are now that I want to do some work there, and I want to have some people talk about it. So to open people's eyes to what's possible.
Great.
And that's part of, as I said, I want to remind you all, it's part of the journey from grief and loss. And it's also just part of the human journey.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's different. I do want to address something. And so somebody wrote something on here as she's going through a very difficult time in her life. She is a domestic violence survivor at this moment, raising her child alone. And so I wanted to hear it from you. And I know what I want to say, where she's like, how does one keep pushing, especially when they have a child with a person who, has done this to her? She's grieving, right? She's grieving how bad she lost herself and she allowed him to have full control. And this was right after everything happened. She thought she had this life with this man and marriage and, and had a child. Her mom died, very dear to her. And then all of this came about. So she's like, how can I do things differently? How can I stop living in fear of him? And for everybody to know, he is incarcerated and being detained for immigration reasons. And so I want you to just I know what I would say, Susan, but for you, it's a loaded question, but we can make it simple without getting into things. Right. But she knows me and I know what I'm going to say on behalf of the community.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is to make sure you're safe, you have a roof over your head, your child is taken care of, and you may need help, and you should ask for it. There are so many organizations throughout all the communities in the United States. Most DAs have domestic violence units to help you. So do not be shy. Maybe Regina can support you in Regina's a social worker too. We can't help it. So in finding them, that's one thing. You want to be safe. You want to be able to, I don't know if you're working or not. So explore all of the help that's out there for free, first of all. And don't be mad at yourself. And secondly, what you said is you're grieving that you chose this man. There's grief in there also about a lost future, the thing we were talking about before. I divorced in the mid-'80s. I instigated it, and yet my heart was broken. And it was broken because my life wasn't going to be the way I thought it should be, the way my mother said it should be. And I had a
All
young
right.
child too when we divorced. So, safety first, and support second,
Yes. So
or,
she's asking lots
or
of
together.
questions. Yeah, lots of questions. There are lots of reasons behind of saying this person, that person. This is how I'm going to leave it. Thank you for being courageous and asking. We can talk offline. Raquel is from New Jersey. And so I have lots of friends from New Jersey, and anybody from Jersey, not they I understand the system can be broken and resources are difficult, and there are many amazing resources for free in Jersey that can hear you and connect with regards to having as simple as there are groups and virtual groups that run and can have other women that connect and support. And Susan's around and I'm around and we can have some conversations. The thing is, it starts with literally, like she said, not blaming self and forgiving, self, because that's not your fault. And so I acknowledge and celebrate you for leaving that situation and being with your child, because I witness you and see you in Facebook and the beauty that's happening. We've got a few minutes left. You know, so many people are, just so excited about this conversation. Ellen said, I'm so appreciative of this conversation. So, Susan, this is your moment. This is your moment. How can people connect with you so they can find out more about what you're up to? I'll be putting it right here on the graphic so people can reach out. But I know that you came up with two ways. One, I want to give a shout out to your email. So let people know so they can hear it.
Okay.
Visual.
Yes, there's my email on the screen. You can go through my website, which will give you an idea of my approach, what I'm offering, and it's not it's not the whole story. Like, I'm doing a forest bathing walk. Long story, but there are ways to go through loss and celebrate life together. LuminousLegacyProject.com. My email was just up there. SJ Shafer, SHAFER 96 at Gmail. Was there anything else?
No, so there's Susan Shafer at
Right.
Shafer 96 at Gmail. You can check out her website at luminouslegacyproject.com and find out some of the things that she's up to. She's very creative. Susan also offers, are you still offering that listening call?
Yes. Every so often, I offer a free half-hour listening session, and that is a space that is safe, where you can speak freely. And I don't coach, I listen. You speak, I listen. And it's amazing how speak for a half hour, they come to their own resolution often. Because you know what you need. You just need someone to, without an agenda, to listen and give you that space to speak it. Yes, so you can contact me either of those ways, and we'll do a session.
All right, guys. So, Susan, we can spend so much time on you because it's so packed, right? With
Yeah.
so much information when we're talking about commitments and loss and renewal and legacy. We will definitely have you back on. We want to thank you so much for your time. You could have been anywhere else, right? But you
Yep.
chose to be here because we're committed to empower and educate and equip all of you, including ourselves, right, with these conversations that are so important to have and the resources to have. So you can reach out to Susan through her website, through her email. She does offer a free listening call. And then, of course, Raquel and I are here as well. So, to everyone, we thank Susan. We thank you for being the best Thrive Tribe. If you are interested in becoming a guest, just reach out to us at info@Rise and Thrive Together. And with that, stay connected, stay grounded, and really be good to yourself. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Bye.